ahorita ya I'll be right back. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. Let me pull my chat. Hold on a minute. Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Storm Show. Let me shut my door here as a precaution. Doesn't really offer great soundproofing, but hey, what you gonna do? My voice is freaking powerful. Yeah, not really. I probably have one of the quietest voices that you can have as a man. There are definitely more louder. There are definitely louder guys out there. Trust me on that. Joe B. Who else is really loud? Markiplier. It's pretty loud. Jesse Cox can get loud at times. Yeah, I'm definitely, like, among, like, online entertainers, I'm probably one of the quietest. Like, I'm just a quiet person, so, you know, comes with the territory. Being a quiet guy, you gotta say things 2-3 times. Day 3 trial, turnabout goodbyes. As a matter of fact, that's part of the reason why I bought this headset. JBL Quantum 100 headset. To help pick up my voice for my streams. I haven't yet gotten a full-fledged microphone, but I may consider getting one at some point. Particularly if my stream does take off. 10 a.m. December 27th. Pretty snappy trial, honestly. Like, IRL trials can take months or even years to occur from the date that a crime takes place. And this trial, we're already on day 2, 2 days after the murder took place. So yeah, pretty fast moving. Like, it's almost never this fast in real life. I think. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Miles Edgeworth. Let me try to angle my mic closer to my mouth too, that might help. Thank you so much for following. Please don't forget to follow. I got a new follower yesterday. Ty. Thank you, Ty. I don't know if you can hear me, but thank you. And any new visitors to the stream, I'd appreciate it if you can chat and follow, because those are the two main things they're watching. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Miles Edgeworth. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Here's Karma again. Very well. Apparently the prosecution is also ready. Who is the judge here anyway? As you might recall last time, Karma was very domineering and controlling in the previous day's trial. Mr. Von Karma, your opening statement. Very well. No opening statements, so... Objection. Not so fast, Judge. I was taking a meaningful pause before speaking. Right, of course. A prediction. Today's trial will end 3 minutes from now. Wow. Order. Order. Mr. Von Karma, what's the meaning of your statement just now? Objection. Bob. Must you question everything? It will be over in 3 minutes. We have no time to waste. I'll call my witness now. Right. I call my witness, my decisive witness to the stand. I believe he is going to call this dude, the old caretaker. He thinks he runs a restaurant. He's the caretaker of the boat rental shop in Cord Lake Park. I believe this guy was the defendant in the case of the DL6 incident. I can't remember his name. It's like Sonny or something like that. Yeah, I can't remember at all. But I'm pretty sure he was the defendant. So we'll have to see what revelations occur in this episode about the DL6 incident. Manfred von Karma, he's of course the prosecutor in this case. Robert Hammond, he's the victim, and in turn he was also the defense attorney in the DL6 incident. The million-dollar question is, why, if the old caretaker was the one who shot Robert and not Edgeworth, why would he do that? Was it part of a cover-up? Maybe because Robert Hammond would have been, the caretaker would have been the client of Robert. So Robert was able to help get him free, so why would he want to shoot him in that case? We'll have to see if we can form that conclusion in this episode. Gregory Edgeworth is Miles Edgeworth's dad. He's the one who was shot and killed in the DL6 incident. And what's strange is that Edgeworth was there too. Miles was there too. And apparently he saw it all. I'm still not entirely sure why Miles' testimony wasn't enough then. But there was an earthquake and they were all in an elevator, and that's when his dad died. It's that mysterious boat shop owner. Yep. Falls asleep often. And as I always say, thank you for watching too. Because views help, chat helps, follows help. Everything helps the show. Witness, state your profession. I'm the proprietor of the restaurant, The Wet Noodle at Gourd Lake. And I also rent boats. The night of the incident, you were in the boat rental shop, correct? Yep, I was. Please testify. Wait a second. We still haven't heard who this old guy is. Let's do it. Objection! Hopefully my roommate is sleeping in the next room. Wait a minute. The witness hasn't stated his name yet. Objection. Because I did not ask him, Mr. Wright. Bye. Wouldn't that be important information in any case? Like, who is the witness? Like, we might need to know who that is. I predicted this trial will end in 3 minutes, therefore we don't have time for introductions. Okay. Stop asking trivial questions and cooperate. As a matter of fact, last time he was also trying to silence the defense. Like, he just kept on objecting. And he wasn't allowing us to get any information out. Yeah, right. The witness will state his name. Well, I'm not really sure. Yep. What do you mean? My memory, Your Honor. The witness does not remember anything beyond the last several years. Ergo, he cannot recall his own name. Karma, your name is always your name. So he would have still had that name in the last 3 years. Like, that would have been something that he was able to remember. There may not have been a whole lot he was able to remember, but he would be able to remember his name. You can't recall, you say? Yes, but the incident in question took place 3 days ago. He can testify. Very well. Let's hear his testimony then, shall we? Witness. Witness testimony the night of the murder. It was the night of the 24th, just after midnight, yep. I was in the restaurant where I rent boats as usual. Then I heard a bang, yep. When I looked out the window, I saw a boat just floating on the lake. Then I heard another bang. Just about then, the boat comes back to the shore, and a man walks by my window. Very well. I'd like to begin the cross-examination. There he goes again. There's nothing to question in my witness's testimony. Ergo, no need for cross-examination. Karma, I'm the defense attorney. Let me be the judge of that, okay? I'll let you handle prosecuting, okay? Besides, there are only 10 seconds left before 3 minutes are up. Judge, your verdict, now. It's very snippy. Yes. Mr. Wright? Gotta do it. What are you saying? Of course I'll cross-examine the witness. Very well. You may begin. He's going Super Saiyan over there. Excuse me, Mr. Von Karma. 3 minutes just passed. 3 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. I see. Well then, let's just take our time. You may cross-examine the witness. Exactly, we gotta do our jobs, Karma. The night of the murder. It was the night of the 24th, just after midnight. Let's press him. Just after midnight, you say? Yup, just around then. Are you sure? Pretty sure, yup. When I talked to you yesterday, you were rather vague about the time. I'm surprised you seem so sure about it today. As we might recall, he said yesterday that he couldn't remember, but he would be able to remember by the time of the trial. So I'm not... Objection. I asked him, and he remembered. Isn't that right? Don't glare at me like that. I remembered it clearly, I did. Yup. You see, continue. I was in the restaurant where I rent boats as usual. Hold it! Is there anyone who can verify that? Well, I guess Polly could. That's not good enough for a court of law. Mr. Wright, exactly what's not good enough? It's a freaking animal, Judge. Your Honor, this Polly is a parrot. A parrot? Don't be so hard on the girl, Keithy boy. Keith, objection. The prosecution concedes that we cannot prove the witness was in the shop. Witness, please continue. Then I heard a bang. Yup. Hold it. And where did the bang seem to come from? From the lake, I figure. Are you certain? Yup. Good. Continue. When I looked out the window, I saw a boat just floating on the lake. Hold it. Was there someone in the boat? It was pretty far out there. I couldn't see clearly. But I figured there was 2 men out there. Yup. But you couldn't see them clearly. Yup. At the time, that is. At the time? Then I heard another bang. So you heard 2 gunshots total. Yup. That's what Lotta said in her testimony yesterday. I may be able to eject with a gun that was fired 3 times. Just about then, the boat comes back to shore, and a man walks by my window. Hold it. By your window? Yup, by my window, right outside the window of my little shack. And could you see the man's face? Well, the fog was pretty darn thick, but he was right there in front of me. I saw him. This is rather important detail. Please add it to your testimony. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I have a bad feeling about this. That man was the defendant. He was saying, I can't believe he's dead. Are you sure? Uh-oh. Dad. Wake up. Dead certain, Keith. He said, I can't believe he's dead, as he was walking by, too. So that was Edgeworth. Where is Edgeworth, by the way? Shouldn't he be in here? Witness, are you sure that the person you saw was Miles Edgeworth? It was him, that Edgeworth boy. This sounds like decisive evidence indeed. I see no room for doubt. Von Karma. He lured me into cross-examining so he could set me up for a fall. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Nick, I don't like the way things are going here. Everyone in the courtroom is glaring at us. I better act quick or this trial is going to be over. Objection! Your Honor, we proved in yesterday's trial that it could not have been Edgeworth who fired that gun. Mr. Wright, are you referring to the fingerprints from Edgeworth's right hand found on the gun, and the photograph showing a man firing with his left hand? Exactly. What's he gonna pull out of his hat? That is easily explainable. He could have wiped his prints after he fired. You're ignoring the truth of the matter here. So why wouldn't he have wiped off his right hand fingerprints then? Everything in this witness's testimony is true. The judge is lost in thought. What should I do? Just keep on objecting. Your Honor, this witness claims that Edgeworth said, I can't believe he's dead. But his word is all we have. If he were telling a lie... Objection, Mr. Wright. In a court of law, the evidence tells all. Apparently, you have yet to realize even this basic fact. If you say his testimony is a lie, show us proof. Irk. Nick, do we have evidence? It's no good. There's nothing I can do. Are you sure? To be honest, I don't know what to do anymore. Please. Can you hear me, sis? Please. We need your help. Nick needs you. Tisk, tisk, tisk. 3 minutes was perhaps too high an expectation. However, 15 minutes isn't bad. This must be a new record. Enough. The witness may leave the stand. If he can, he might be asleep. This court sees no reason to further prolong the trial, nor is there any need for more time to decide the case against the defendant. I predict Mia's going to swing to the rescue. This case is extremely clear. I see no room for misinterpretation of facts. What? No! This court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, guilty. Dun dun dun. The accused will surrender to the court immediately, to be held pending trial at a higher court within a month from today's date. That is all. This court is adjourned. I couldn't really object at all. Wait. It's gonna be Mia, I think. Who was that just now? Me. Huh? What? Oh, Larry? Larry, what are you doing here? Listen, you gotta listen to me. I was there in the park, the night of the murder. I wasn't sure about it until just yesterday. But today I remembered it. Remembered what? The gunshot. I heard it too. Order. Objection. What is the meaning of this? The verdict has been decided. I call for adjournment. One moment, Mr. Von Karma. So you say you heard a gunshot? Yeah, I did, a gunshot that night. I was sitting here in the audience listening to the testimony. Then I realized something he said was different from what I remember. Anyhow, I can't just sit here and let you call Edgy a murderer. It's just not right. I'll testify. Let me testify. Let him testify, Judge. Order, order. Well, this is the first time something has happened like this in my court. I'm not quite sure how to proceed. Judge, you've already given your decision. The trial is over. Nick, this is it. Larry's given us one final chance at this. She's right. If only it wasn't Larry. He could make things even worse. Mr. Edgeworth was just declared guilty, Nick. It doesn't get any worse. You're right. Okay. Your Honor, if there is another witness, it's our duty to hear him speak. Right here, right now. Waste of time. The verdict cannot be overturned. Allow me to speak my opinion. In all court proceedings, it is our duty to prevent an inaccurate verdict. In order to make sure no mistake has been made, every witness should be heard. What is this? I withdraw my previous verdict of guilty. Mr. Von Karma, I order you to call this new witness to testify. Now. What? The court will adjourn for a 5-minute recess. After that, we will hear this new witness. Court is adjourned. Alright, bang that gavel, Judge. December 27, 10:28 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Phew. That was too close. Sorry to keep you on the edge of your seat like that, Edgeworth. I've seen worse. Yeah, right, Edgeworth. You're sweating bullets. I just wonder what Larry plans to say in there. Larry was up late that night. What sucks is that we haven't heard from Edgeworth. Like, he might be able to vindicate himself. Yes. He said he went looking for the steel samurai balloon that flew into the lake. Oh, right. And he found the balloon in the air tank that night. Yeah. Hey, Edgeworth. Huh? You say something right? Yeah, a lot of things. You seem out of it. What's wrong? It's nothing. Mr. Edgeworth, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. What's that? Why are your fingerprints on the murder weapon? Oh. Yeah, he needs to start offering explanations. Like, why was he the only other person on the boat? How does he explain the picture? How can he explain the gun? When he fell into the lake, I went into a daze. I couldn't understand what had happened. I couldn't think straight. Then I saw the pistol lying on the floor of the boat in front of me. I picked it up without thinking. I didn't have a reason. Okay, that really doesn't help. That wasn't a smart call. And he should know that. He's a prosecuting attorney. I see. Right. Yeah? This might be our chance. Our chance? Von Karma has only ever run perfect trials. Perfect trials? All I can manage to say are repeats of what he's already said. Perfectly prepared witnesses. Perfectly complete evidence. Perfect, perfect, perfect. But we're not in a perfect world, Wright, and that will be his downfall. That's the secret to his success. This is the first time he's ever had to deal with something unexpected. He has to let someone he hasn't even talked to testify before the court. And that someone is Larry. What are you getting at? It's likely his testimony will be full of holes, right? That's right, Nick. Your specialty. No 10-minute trial this time. I'll milk this one for all it's worth. Hey, it was 15 minutes. 15! Everything's on Larry now. December 27th, 10:35 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 3. Court is now back in session. Witness, please testify to the court about everything that you saw on the night of December 24th. Right, leave it to me. Please, Larry, don't mess this one up. I hate to admit it, but you're our last chance. Von Karma didn't even have time to prep his witness. I just hope Edgeworth is right about this being our big break. The night of the murder, witness testimony. That night I was out on a boat on the lake. I was looking for something and I found it. So I quietly slipped the boat back in at the rental shop dock. Then, just as I was thinking about going home, I heard this bang. I looked out over the lake, but I didn't see a boat. So after I heard that single gunshot, I went home. That was an unusually vague testimony, even for this court. In any case, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. What's wrong, Nick? It's Larry. I have no idea what he's going to say if I press him. I'm a little scared. Well, we've come this far. There's no way to go but forward, Nick. Let's press him. The night of the murder. Okay, he was out in a boat on the lake. Hold it. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? There were so many things wrong, I don't know where to begin. Well, okay. First of all, what time was it? Oh, it was after 11 o'clock when I went out in the boat. By that time, everyone had gone home for the night. So I waited until the coast was clear, so to speak. And why were you out on a boat at such a late hour? I was looking for something, and I found it. Hold it. Looking for something? Yeah. Mr. Butts, what was it you were looking for? Objection. What the witness was searching for is irrelevant. Most likely he was hunting for this Gordy. That's surprisingly close to the truth, in a sense. This is all irrelevant. Let's get it over with. So I quietly slipped the boat back in at the boat rental shop dock. Hold it. Around what time was that? Well, let's see. I figure I was out searching for about an hour. Guess it was around 12 o'clock, yeah. You're not sure? Hey, don't give me that face. I'm not some sort of human sundial, okay? People use watches these days, Larry. And mobile phones. Just as I was thinking about going home, I heard this bang. Hold it? Where did the sound come from? Well, I wasn't too sure about that. I looked around, you know. Did you look at the lake? Yeah, I looked. I looked out over the lake, but I didn't see the boat. Hold it. Wasn't there a boat on the lake? Order, order. Well, Mr. Butts. Whoa. Everybody just calm down, okay? I mean, it was really foggy that night. I'm not sure whether there was a boat out there or not. Oh, okay, no problem. That's just the most important part of this case. So after I heard that single gunshot, I went home. Hold it. So you only heard one bang, correct? Yeah. Huh. Well, Nick? It was a pretty wishy-washy testimony, wasn't it? I guess I should just start working on the contradictions. Sorry. I wish I could be more helpful. I wish I could call my sister. Yeah, I wish so too. Okay, I need to object, I think. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? I'm not sure I follow. Are you serious? The gun says it was fired 3 times. How is that not a contradiction? How is that not the case? Maybe it's the second lake photo. Let me try it here. giving me the nuts. So I'll give them the bolts. Trial day 2. Alright, it's Lotta's deposition. We need one, two, three, 4, 5, 6. See, I knew there was something fishy about this. What does it say in the deposition? 2 sounds like gunshots. I think it's ridiculous that they didn't give it to me with the pistol. The pistol says fire 3 times. I think that's ridiculous, but okay. Wait a sec, Larry. What? You only heard 1 bang? You're sure? And then this is the part where I'd say something like, but this pistol, however, was fired 3 times. That's what I said. Miss Lotta Hart testified yesterday that she heard 2 bangs. And the old man just now said the same thing. They both heard 2 gunshots that night. Huh? Were you even listening? Were you paying attention at all to what they said? Yo, Nick, please. Huh? You know, something's been bothering me. I'm a witness, see? I'm like a customer here. So you gotta treat me nice and stuff, okay? Mr. Butts, what? You only heard 1 gunshot? Are you sure? Well, I'll tell you the truth, I'm not sure. Huh? Not sure? How could you not be sure? I don't see the number of shots as well. Because there was 1 bullet found in the victim, Robert. So how does that all contradict what we already know? Yeah, well, I might have missed the other gunshot. I was listening to something else. What happened to the other 2 bullets, then? Something else? My radio, dude, with my headphones. What? Order, order. Stop that booing. Mr. Butts, you were listening to the radio with your headphones? Yeah, so what? Is that a crime? I listen to my radio. Everybody listens to the radio. What's the big deal? Mr. Von Karma, your opinion? Waste of time. I do not accept this witness nor his shoddy testimony. Can he even do that? Well, Mr. Wright, should he continue the testimony? Yes, of course. Your Honor, please allow the witness to continue his testimony. Bah. Nothing is more pitiful than a lawyer who doesn't know when he's lost. Very well, Mr. Butts. Please give your testimony and be sure to include details like your radio. Right, leave it to me. I wouldn't if there were any other way out of this, believe me. What Larry heard in his testimony. It's lonely being alone on Christmas Eve. That's why I was listening to an All Request show on the radio, see? I was listening to it real booming loud like. But I'm sure I heard that gunshot. Sometimes it's hard for me to pick apart what the game exactly wants me to do. It's like very linear. Like extremely linear. To the point where sometimes I don't follow the trail. I remember exactly what the DJ was saying when I heard it too. You were listening to your radio at high volume? Yeah, what's the big problem? Can't a man listen to his radio in peace? Isn't this a free country? I truly believe Larry has no idea what the problem here is. Judge, can you believe a word this witness says? What he heard was probably nothing more than a drum beat from the radio. True enough, it is difficult to believe this testimony. Objection! Wait, Your Honor. The witness said he remembers exactly what the DJ said when he heard the gunshot. Excuse me, DJ? An announcer, the guy who says things on the radio. Anyway, what this means is, when he heard the sound, no music was playing. The DJ only talks between songs. Not all the time, right? Sometimes DJs do talk over songs. Like, especially at the intro or conclusion of songs. So he could have heard the gunshot from the lip. I'd like to cross-examine the witness, Your Honor. Very well, Mr. Wright. I can't believe I'm continuing this charade. But Larry heard. So now I gotta press him, look for an objection. So you turn on the radio. Right. I just wanted to hear someone's voice, you know? You don't know what it's like out there alone on Christmas Eve. Alone. Alone in the world and universe. A whirlpool of loneliness and despair. What cruel agony our existence is. I shouldn't have said anything. That's why I was listening to an all-request show on the radio, see? Do you by any chance remember the name of the program you were listening to? Objection. This has nothing to do with the case, Your Honor. Prosecution has a really easy job. He just has to keep saying that. Irrelevant. Has nothing to do with anything. Objection sustained. The witness was listening to the radio. That is all we need to know. Tell us, Mr. Butts, how loud was your radio set to that night? I was listening to it real booming loud, like. Hold it. Real booming loud? Yeah, you know. And you had headphones on. Yep. I wouldn't think you could hear anything going on outside at all. And I'm sure I heard that gunshot. Hold it. Can you prove that? No, of course you can't. No, I can't prove it, but I remember that moment real clear. I mean, while I was talking about it, it came back real clear to me, you know? I remember exactly what the DJ was saying when he heard it too. When I heard it too. What did she say? Objection. Mr. Wright, please cease these pointless questions. What possible good could knowing what a radio DJ said do us? Indeed, Mr. Von Karma has a point. I'll allow the question only if you see some reason why we should care. We don't care, or we should care. I think I feel like saying we don't care. But I think there's some maybe reason why we should care. Could it be a distraction for Larry, maybe? We should care, Your Honor. Of course we should. Why? Well, how do you know if we don't ask, Fine, very well. Mr. Butts, please testify to the court. What was the radio announcer saying when you heard the gunshot? Just when she said, hey, it's almost Christmas, I heard the gunshot. Are you sure? Of course I am. She had this real sexy voice. Maybe Von Karma was right. I'm not sure how that helped us at all. This is the most ludicrous testimony I've ever heard. But there is one gleaming ray of hope in there. I've got to press it until we get to the bottom of what happened. So I need to object. District Courthouse. Air in elevator has oxygen depleted at time of incident. No clues found on the scene. Gregory Edgeworth, age 35, is the victim. Defense attorney, trapped in elevator returning from a lost trial with son. Miles Edgeworth, age 9. This must be a typo, because the defense was successful in the case of the DL6 incident. His client was declared not guilty, Unless there's something I'm not getting here. One bullet was found in heart. The murder weapon was fired twice. Yanni Yogi, age 37, court bailiff. Trapped in elevator with the Edgeworths. Memory loss due to oxygen deprivation. After his arrest, fiancée Polly Jenkins committed suicide. $37. Is it the gun now? That's what I need to know. Like photo Orlato's deposition. That's when she said, I like that you're broken like me. Maybe that makes me a fool. I think that's a song by the Dirty Heads, you say? I don't know, I forget. It hasn't been on the radio in a while. But it's a good song. Lyrically, at least. Might have been overplayed. Objection. Larry, are you absolutely sure what you're saying is correct? Oh, what's with the face? You look scary, dude. Hey, if you're trying to scare me, you better know I don't scare easy. Something the matter, Miss Wright? Your Honor, did you hear what the witness just said? The DJ said, hey, it's almost Christmas when he heard the gunshot. Indeed, and almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. Do you realize what this means? When he heard the gunshot, it was still Christmas Eve. That would seem to be the case, yes. But that contradicts the two testimonies we've heard so far, Your Honor. Both Miss Hart and the old man said it was after midnight when they heard the shots. In other words, when they heard the gunshots, it was already Christmas. This is a clear contradiction, Your Honor. So that means the gun could have been fired before. I gotta be right back. I have to use the bathroom. I'm back. Yeah, I don't even know why that's necessary for us to know. Like, what does it... Like, I have to side with Karma on this one. What does it matter when the shots were heard? What we need to determine is whether or not Miles shot Robert. And if not him, if not he, who did? That's what we need to know. Everything else doesn't matter, frankly. What does this mean? The two prior witnesses heard gunshots after midnight. However, this witness says he heard a gunshot before midnight. Judge, the answer is simple. The current witness is plainly mistaken. Just look at him, suspicious. What? Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think about Mr. Butts' claim he heard the gunshot before midnight? He's right. Larry's not mistaken, Your Honor. He heard the gunshot before midnight. Intriguing. I'm assuming you have evidence for this wild claim. Show me evidence there was a gunshot before midnight. Let's see if I can figure this one out on my own. The second lake photo, right? It says it was on 12/24. Game. Look at this photograph. This was taken by our witness yesterday, Miss Lotta Hart, with her automatic camera. The timestamp on the photo reads December 24th, 11:50 p.m. Oh. But there is nothing on the lake in this picture. Your Honor, the real issue here is not why nothing is shown in this photograph. It is why this photograph exists at all. What do you mean? Your Honor, this photograph was taken by an automatic camera. That camera was set to go off in response to loud noises. Aha. Correct. There was a loud noise on the lake at 11:50 p.m. That is why this photograph was taken. In other words, when Larry heard that gunshot, it was most definitely still Christmas Eve. I don't understand where this is going at all. Indeed, it would seem that that is the case. Then where does that leave us? Miss Hart testified that she heard the gunshots after midnight. Are you claiming she was mistaken? Not at all, Your Honor. It's a fact that the camera also triggered at 15 minutes after midnight. Remember, there were 3 shots total from the gun, so all of them could be correct. Larry could be right, Lotta could be correct, the caretaker could be right. All 3 of them could be right, because there were 3 shots total. Your Honor, that night there were 2 sets of gunshots with a 25-minute pause between them. Why would this be? Didn't he just say it was 15 minutes after? Objection. Don't be fooled, Judge. That camera was set to respond to loud noises. Yes. There is no proof that the loud noise at 11:50 was a gunshot. Why the witness could have sneezed, triggering the camera. Hey, my nose was clear that night, man. Clear. Well, Mr. Wright, there's no turning back now. Can you prove that the loud noise at 11:50 p.m. was indeed a gunshot? Please show the court evidence if you have any. Is it the pistol? We know that was fired 3 times. I believe it's the pistol. I don't see any other evidence that suggests that a gunshot was fired on the 24th, other than maybe this autopsy report. Time of death sometime on the 24th or 25th. But that only poses the possibility that that occurred. I think the gun is more definitive than the autopsy report. Alright, let's try it, I think. Because it was fired 3 times. This is my evidence. The murder weapon? Something about this pistol was bothering me, Your Honor. Both of the witnesses who testified yesterday heard 2 gunshots. However, the murder weapon was fired 3 times. Well, when then was the last shot fired? Only now have I realized the truth. That 3rd shot was the shot Larry heard just before midnight. How is that possible? If shots were heard after midnight, how is that possible? Order. That would make sense of the evidence we've seen so far. However, this leaves me wondering exactly what did happen that night on the lake. And why does that contradict Lotta's and the caretaker's testimony? Exactly. If this is true, there were 2 sets of gunshots separated by 25 minutes. One at 11:50, another at 15 minutes after midnight. Why, I ask you? Why? Uh-oh, I better think of something quick. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Wait a second. Gunshots separated by 25 minutes. Ah. What's wrong, Nick? I have it. I have it. Huh? Remember the case with the Steel Samurai? Yeah, of course I remember. The murderer in this case had the same idea as the murderer in that case. What do you mean? Maya. Yes? If we don't figure this out now, we'll never overturn Edgeworth's guilty verdict. I've got a hunch and I'm going to run with it. Right. I mean, is this safe? Safe? We've already gotten a guilty verdict. We had nothing to lose. You just watch and let me know if I say anything that sounds fishy, okay? Right, Nick. Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Wright? The testimony just now has cleared up this entire case. What do you mean, Mr. Wright? Tisk, tisk, tisk. So you finally realized the truth. There can be no other murderer here than Miles Edgeworth himself. Wrong, Bon Karma. A man was shot that night, but it wasn't Edgeworth who did the shooting. Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath and consider the facts. At the time of the murder, one boat was on that lake. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edgeworth, and the victim, Robert Hammond, were on that boat. I am completely 100% following with what Karma's saying right now. All these, theories about, how many shots were fired and the time that they were fired, I don't see as relevant at all. The only thing I think of as relevant is who did the shooting. Really, that's the only question. Who did the shooting? And Edgeworth was the only other person there. So that is probably the biggest mountain we have yet to climb. There was a gunshot fired in that boat, and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. Exactly. Edgeworth was the only other person on the boat. I really, really, really wish Edgeworth was able to give us more information, because he's the only other person that was there at the time. It's like all he can say is, I didn't do it. Okay, so who did? How did your fingerprints get on the gun? The distance of the shooting was 1 meter. It couldn't have been suicide. Well, the guilty party has to be the other man on that boat. I admit, it is hard to imagine any other possibility. Yes, but this assumes that the victim was shot at 15 minutes after midnight. Why is that important? Why does it matter if Robert Hammond died on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve? What does that matter at all? What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? We have photographic evidence of the time of the shooting. The timestamp on the photo says 15. But Larry heard gunshots 25 minutes before that. Heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot in the lake. How is that possible? Just based on that second photograph, how is that possible? So he died, and then we get a picture of him being shot 25 minutes later. Wouldn't he be laying down if he had died 25 minutes prior? Sometimes the narrative in this game just makes zero sense. That's the only way that Edgeworth could be innocent. Why is he still standing in the second photograph if he was already dead? Mr. Wright, are you quite mad? Explain who the two men on the boat are. Edgeworth and the murderer, or Edgeworth and Hammond? The murderer and Hammond. Unless it's Edgeworth and the murderer, and Edgeworth is shooting the murderer. Did Hammond already fall overboard then? I guess that's what I have to say, right? Because if he had already died, he would have fallen overboard or at least fallen down. It could have only been Edgeworth and the murderer. Of course, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and met Edgeworth. Even in the dark, wouldn't Edgeworth know if someone was pretending to be Robert Hammond? What? Are you serious? Yes, Edgeworth won't tell us why he went to the lake that night. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Now, Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the murderer took Robert Hammond's place. Robert, I'm not sure what to make of all this. Ludicrous. Mr. Wright, tell us the name of the murderer then. The murderer's name? Wright. It's Miles Edgeworth, lot of heart, or I don't know. What happens if I say lot of heart? The murderer is none other than Miss Lotta Hart. The investigative photographer? Yes. You're saying that young lady dressed up like Robert Hammond and fooled Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, well, she did look sort of manly. Objection. I'm ashamed I actually listened to this utter nonsense. Listen. You came to this conclusion based on a piece of evidence. That is, this photograph taken at 11:50. If you didn't have this photograph, you never would have made this claim. Correct? And just who was it? Who went out of her way to give you that piece of evidence? It was Lotta Hart. Why would the murderer go to all that trouble just to deliver you decisive evidence? I guess they wouldn't. Mr. Wright, I'm going to penalize you for this. Mr. Wright, can you really tell us the name of the murderer? Bluff and bluff good. The murderer's name? Right. It's... Do I have to say I don't know? I have to, right? Because Miles Edgeworth is going to get Edgeworth convicted. Actually, I don't know the murderer's name. You don't know? Well, again, you waste my time. I just have to say that. I don't know. I don't know because he never told us. The murderer is the caretaker of the boat shop, that old man. I knew that was the case. Why didn't it say caretaker, though, instead of I don't know? It's just vague enough to not be helpful. At 11:50, he was the one who killed Robert Hammond. The caretaker of the boat shop? Where did he do this? There weren't any boats on the lake then. Why would he have to go all the way on the lake just to shoot someone? May I suggest that the real scene of this crime was not on a boat? What? Well, then where did the murder take place? Show the judge where the murder really took place. The boat rental? I think I'm going to have to say the boat rental. Here, of course, the boat shop where he lives. That way he can meet with the victim without anyone seeing. Objection. Do you have proof that the boat shop was the scene of the crime? Recall Larry's testimony, if you will. That night, he was out on the lake in a boat, searching for something. He finds it and returns the boat. Then, just as he's starting to head for home, he hears a gunshot. He heard a gunshot, Your Honor, even though he was wearing headphones at the time. In other words, the gunshot was very, very close by. And where would that be if he had just returned a boat? The boat shop. Mr. Wright, what happened that night on Gourd Lake? Please tell the court from the beginning. Yes, Your Honor. Nick, are you sure about this? Not really. But I think if I start at the very beginning, and I take it slow, I might just be able to figure this out. Really, it should be Edgeworth. I still don't get what happened. It's like, so the caretaker shoots Robert. He goes out on the boat with Edgeworth 15 minutes later. A photograph is seen of Edgeworth shooting the caretaker. So why doesn't he have a bullet wound? Why didn't he die? Like, it just doesn't make sense. The caretaker of the boat shop called Robert Hammond to his shop. This was around 11:50. That was when the gunshot that Larry heard was fired. After that, the caretaker put on Robert Hammond's coat. He became Robert Hammond. The dude looks nothing like Robert Hammond. Even at night, you'd be able to tell. It's not the same person because Robert Hammond did not have facial hair. Robert Hammond is also not old. Like, the caretaker and Robert Hammond look nothing alike. Even if he changed into Robert Hammond's clothes, he would still look like the caretaker. Then he got into the boat with Edgeworth and went out into the middle of the lake. And who fired the pistol on the boat, Mr. Wright? Miles Edgeworth or the boat shop caretaker? It was the caretaker, right? But if that's the case, why didn't Miles Edgeworth get shot? Of course, it was the murderer who shot the pistol. He shot twice. Both missed Edgeworth on purpose. Wait a minute. Yes? Why would he shoot twice if he didn't mean to hit anyone? Details. Know this, Mr. Wright. The moment you run out of explanations is the moment you lose. Tell us why the murderer had to fire twice. Because the first shot missed, or to create a witness? I think it's to create a witness. Because the first shot missed doesn't make sense because he... I mean, he didn't hit with either shot, right? So him missing the first shot had nothing to do with the fact that he fired the second shot if his intent was not to hit at all. I believe he shot twice to create a witness, Your Honor. Create a witness? The murderer lifts his pistol and fires one shot. That ensures that anyone who heard the shot would look at the lake. Indeed, Miss Hart did exactly that after hearing the first gunshot. Next, the murderer waits a bit after he fires again. Then, Edgeworth falls in the water. Oh, the murderer jumps from the boat himself, leaving the pistol in the boat behind him. So why did Edgeworth pick up the gun then? That's really not helpful for us. I see. To someone looking from the edge of the lake, it would appear that one of the men on the boat had shot the other. The murderer didn't know about the automatic camera, of course. That's why he shot twice to draw attention to the boat. Once he realized that, everything else falls into place. The boat shop caretaker swam back to his shop. Then he put Mr. Hammond's wet coat back on the body, and threw the body into the lake. This is what happened, Your Honor. These are the events that transpired that night on Gourd Lake. Again, you know what would have been really super duper helpful? Edgeworth's testimony. Where the heck was that during this entire episode? Like, why is Phoenix having to come up with this entire story? Edgeworth was there and saw everything. He can say, I didn't fire the gun. The caretaker fired the gun. He fired 2 shots. I picked up the gun after he jumped in the water. That would have cleared up so many questions instead of just him saying, I didn't do it. Because then we have to go through this entire episode coming up with all these details and facts out of thin air. It's just kind of annoying on the part of the game. It's like, where is Edgeworth? I don't know. These are the events that transpired that night on Gourd Lake. He doesn't get to provide testimony at all in his own murder trial. What the heck? Bailiff, bring out the witness from before. The boat shop caretaker, quickly. He's gonna keep falling asleep too. He can barely stay awake, and we're expected to believe that he shot the other guy, put on his clothes, took the boat with Edgeworth in it, out on the lake. Edgeworth, meanwhile, can't even tell who it is. Jumps out and swims back to shore. That old man, we're supposed to believe that did all that. Really. He can't even stay awake. He can't even stay awake, and he can swim like a mile back to shore. Okay. We'll be waiting for the caretaker. I'd like to ask the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, a few questions. About time. Mr. Edgeworth, please take the stand. Mr. Edgeworth, you heard what the defense has said. Yes. Well, why did you go out to the lake that night? What Wright has said was mostly correct. It would really help if you had given us some indication of what happened before I came up with this theory. Astonishingly so, actually. Yes. Several days ago, I received a letter. The letter was signed Robert Hammond. He asked me to come to the boat shop at the lake at midnight on Christmas Eve. He said he had something very important to discuss with me. Something important? I'm sorry, I can't say what it was. Your Honor, sir. Bailiff, we're conducting a trial here. I ask that you remain quiet. The witness has disappeared. He isn't at the boat shop either. Wait, what? What? What should I do? Find him quickly. We cannot allow him to get away. That old man really pulled a Houdini? Really? Mr. Von Karma, your witness has disappeared. A search warrant has already been issued. It goes without saying that I cannot declare a verdict under these circumstances. I will extend the trial until tomorrow, the final day allowed. I request that the police department utilize all its forces to find that witness. Am I understood? One more thing. Just who is that boat shop caretaker? I think his identity has become very important to this trial. I want him, and I want to know who he is. Very well. Court is adjourned. December 27th, 1:22 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Yay, Nick, you did it! Yeah. Well, at least we got out from under that guilty verdict. What about Larry? That was something else. Even Von Karma didn't know what to do with his testimony. Larry really helped us out. Dude, Larry helped us out more than Edgeworth. And he had no clue about what happened. Like, he's like, I was listening to my radio and I think I heard a gunshot. He didn't actually see anything. Meanwhile, Edgeworth saw it all. And yet still he wasn't able to discern the caretaker from Robert. Even at night, he should have been able to notice the difference. Sure, once I sifted through his unique testimony. Still, he did save us. I just wish our cases weren't so down to the wire all the time. I know what you mean. Sometimes I feel like it's us on trial instead of our clients. Hey, Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth? Did you say something? You don't look so pained. I mean, it looks like you're probably going to get off the hook. You could try to smile just a little. Relax. I'm sorry, but I fear it's not over for me yet. What do you mean? Right. There's something that's been troubling me for a long time now, and I don't know whether or not to tell you. Edgeworth? No, there's so little time left. I want to tell you to get it off my chest, but... I can't make up my mind. Dude, you were 10 minutes away from being declared guilty of murder. You need to start spilling the beans. Like... What is this about, Edgeworth? It's a nightmare I've had. A memory of a crime that I committed. A crime you committed? A memory of a murder. To be continued. Wow. I had a funny feeling it was the caretaker. I think I mentioned that in the last episode. Like, I almost want to pull up their pictures again. We already took a look at their pictures in this episode. Like, Robert, he's got long black hair. And the dude looks like he's, you know, mid-40s. Maybe. Like 30s, 40s, maybe. This caretaker... The dude has gray facial hair. He looks like he's like 70, maybe 80 something years old. Like, their bodies must have been different. They're different ages. They've got different hair colors, different facial hair. Like, even if he put on Robert's clothes, how is it Miles couldn't tell the difference between the two? Unless it had been a long... Like, maybe it was the case that it was just a really long time and he forgot. He forgot what Robert was like. Because the last time he saw him was in the DL6 incident 15 years before. So maybe he was just a young kid. He couldn't remember him all that well. But even still, like... I just don't know. Alright, next time. We'll be in Day 3's investigation of Turnout Goodbyes. I expect that that episode will be tomorrow. I'll try to have it a little bit earlier. Like maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Because I can't really make a lot of noise at night. Try to keep my door shut to help with that, but thank you all for watching. Thank you for the follows. You saying it. The chat helps, and I will be back with more Phoenix Wright for justice. I wonder. I'll just restart.